culture is everything. A culture eats strategy for lunch. That's an old saying that I've used in my last company. And I've always struggled to what is culture and how you build it. But it is what people say when you're not in the room. And it all comes down to how you treat people, how you truly respect them in everything you do. And if you have that culture where everybody respects each other, everybody treats each other with fairness and honesty and hard work, you're going to be fairly invincible. And this transcends business. This is in sports. This is in life. This is in family. You just got to have that. And if you have that sense and you're pure in your heart with your people, it doesn't mean that you don't challenge them and you're not hard on them and we don't, and all that. But you have to have that sense and they have to trust you. And if you have that and you truly build that, that's culture.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Business of Learning podcast. My guest here today is Paul Cardis, who is the CEO and founder of On3 AI. Paul, welcome.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
I'm excited to have you here. Tell everyone a little bit more what On3 is all about and who you guys help.
Sure. So On3 is a frontline learning platform. One of the things that we're focused on is in the construction industry, and we help individuals in that space really capture all the processes and how-tos in that business and create a micro-learning site that is mobile-based, works offline, that allows them to access and learn all the key frontline important information that they need.
That's so awesome. And I find the construction space so interesting. I've worked with many people in the contracting industry in the past as well. And systems and processes are so important, but they're often lacking when it comes to so many of these companies. And it seems like On3 AI is a way for them to bridge that gap and have that learning on hand, fast, systematized. So it's very repeatable. Is that correct?
That's it. Exactly. Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah. And it's talk to me a little bit more about the idea of why this even came to be. Why did you even want to create this thing?
Yeah, so I've spent my professional career really in the construction space. It's been a great industry. And prior to me, my father actually was, he was an engineer by trade and spent a lot of time in the industry. So been around it for a long time. And I sold my first company back in 2018 and then realized that there was still more to be done here. If you're really going to affect quality, we had to transcend what was happening out there in the field. And so we got together with a couple of my friends in the business and we formed On3 and we went after it. And it's been quite a run since. It's been fast growing in the last 5 years. We've been growing dynamically and seeing a lot of interest from the industry.
Yeah, and it's so awesome because I think the concept of it is so key. As I said already before, it bridged such a huge gap that I've seen countless times before when it comes to construction. And as you're building the company, how long has the company been around now? Exactly?
Since 2020.
So since 2020, yeah, just 5 years now. In this period, how did you overcome the first few phases of developing the product, but also being able to convince and get people's trust of like, hey, this is something that you actually need in your company?
Yeah, that's always a challenge. And I think it was exacerbated by COVID. It was 2020. So we were all sitting around, the world was sort of crumbling around us and we were all bored. And here we were pushing ahead. I think in many respects, we actually had the idea prior to COVID. So I was working on it before then. But obviously we didn't form the company till then. And COVID it increased the interest in remote learning tools, right? Because everybody was stuck at home. So I think we got a little bit of luck in terms of what was happening in the world and the tools that were needed. We kind of put our board in the water right at the right time when that swell came in. And then, since then, obviously things have normalized, but there's continued to be interest in tools like this. So for us, it really was a unique journey. And I can't say there was just one thing other than, be persistent, understand your value proposition. It's got to be really, really clear. Yeah. You have to point to return on investment, which is very difficult in the learning space. But we were riveted on making sure this tied out to and made sense to folks in the industry, and that we were addressing real pain points for them. Yeah. And I think our major thesis is that you can manage one of two ways. You can certainly, kind of thump people on the head, put pressure for them to be better, or you can coach and give them, clear instructions on how to be better. And the latter was really being underutilized. And so we've now digitized and created a tool to make that possible.
I think it's so awesome that you bring up the point of ROI as well. I think so many companies that I've spoken with, it's just like, hey, here's this amazing thing that we got. Do you want it? And it's like, okay, sure, there's some value there and there's some things that you solve, but where's the value going to be rewarded on the back end? Because oftentimes that's how people are looking at it. And have you found that there's a lot of hesitancy from people in the industry to adapt to this new thing, which is, hey, micro learning and online. It's like, hey, we just want to
Oh,
like
for
get the
sure.
job done. Have you found that to be an
Absolutely,
obstacle?
yeah, absolutely. We still run into it today. I mean,
Mm,
you run into folks that just don't get it or don't feel like this is important. They think this is just, nice to have. And we see it as operational, and that is really one of our biggest challenges right now is how do we transcend, no offense to the learning space, but transcend from learning to
mm-hmm,
being truly an operational tool.
mm,
And that is a challenge because I think once you're in the learning and training bucket, you're there. And I think the budgetary allocations that you get within corporations, they're there in some
mm,
companies who have a culture of learning, but in many, it's considered, discretionary. And
mm,
so, it can be not a great place to be
mm-hmm.
in the budget. But if you get into operational, I think now you're
Yeah,
you're part of the core. And we see this as operational, and we're seeing it with our clients today. They're
yeah.
getting the ROI. We're saving them millions of dollars, and literally, really is a seven-figure return for our clients. So when you look at it and you see that, now it's like, well, why wouldn't I make this investment? So if I spend $1 to save 20, I'd do it every day, right?
Yeah, 1000%. How many of those
Yeah,
dollars can I be saving every single day, right?
right,
That's so interesting.
absolutely.
Do you think that comes down to maybe just a lack of I'm not sure if education is the right word, but a lack of understanding of how it actually can be applied to their specific company?
Yeah, I think it's because of this muscle memory we have in this industry. I mean, let's
Ah,
face it, we're in construction. We are a hands-on, practical, get it done group. We're not
mhm.
one to sit down and pontificate on the next move we're going to make. It's go
Yeah.
get it done business, right? But the good news
Mhm.
is I grew up in it. I'm familiar with it, understand
Mhm.
that,
Yeah.
and we've built our tool as well to be different than traditional e-learning because I think everybody's
Mhm.
had an experience with e-learning. Traditional e-learning,
Mhm.
watch a video, take a multiple choice test, and frankly, that's not what we're doing necessarily here with On3. We're trying
Mhm.
to go beyond that, utilizing the latest and greatest tools
Mhm.
to truly create long term memory, and as well create very practical and
Mhm.
usable experiences for the folks. And we do get that. We get feedback saying this was great. I enjoyed that. Right,
Mhm.
which is rare. Most of the time people are bored to tears in their e-learning. Right.
You
So
don't have to tell me about that. It's usually like,
yeah.
yeah, click the checkbox. Yeah, I've completed. Wait for the timer to run out. Okay, yeah, next. And so it's like this revolving, I
Yeah.
guess, door of pain mostly. But just from everything that I've seen, and obviously from our conversations, it sounds like you guys are the complete opposite. And it's so interesting. How do people actually come around and find out about On3 and who you guys are, and if it's a possibility that would help them with their operations as well?
Well, we're still getting the word out. We don't have a large marketing budget yet, although we just hired a fractional CMO, and
Okay.
we're now a social media team, and we're now adding those resources that bigger companies can afford. And we're starting to see good results with the marketing. And in fact, as of late, we're getting some real nice media attention.
Mm,
So very grateful for that. But it is buzz and word of mouth, right? In the
mm,
end of the day, you've got to do a great job with your clients, and then those clients are able to support you,
mhm.
and that's how we're building the company is organically that way. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah, and it sounds like the usual construction slash contract is, hey, word of mouth, build. Hey, this is good, amazing, move on and on and on.
exactly. Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's
Focus on your clients, not to grow too fast. We
yeah,
don't have a team of salespeople beating the pavement. It's a very lean group because
mm,
we're always really more emphasizing the client success side of it
mm-hmm,
and managing our clients, making sure that we're delivering on our promises,
mm-hmm,
and then we feed it with sales. Strategically. And
mm-hmm,
sales hasn't been our biggest problem, which is great. It's
mm,
really everything else that goes around it that we have to keep our eye on.
mm. When you say everything else around it, do you mean what do you mean by that? Yeah.
Client success and the learning and development team, the
Mm-hmm,
technology. We're spending a lot of efforts on those three areas. That's key, right? So that the clients have an
mm-hmm.
amazing experience.
That makes a lot of sense. And I wanted to touch back just on the operation side of things, just one more, because I find it so key, specifically for the industry. Oftentimes, when I've dealt with clients who are dealing with clients in the contracting industry, there's, I think, a lack of awareness on how they can create such operations for them. But it sounds like you guys at On3 are actually already operationalizing it for them, and they just apply it to their business by using the tool. Is that correct?
Yeah, we definitely are. Yeah, it's a
Mm.
spoon feed model, right?
Yeah. Okay.
You can't wait for them to come in and set the table here. You really got to have
Mm.
everything ready to go. We've already built content so clients can walk right in. We
Mm.
have content already curated for the specific industry, and content's king, right? If you don't
Yeah.
have content and you're just putting up a technology platform and hoping for them to fill it, that does
Hmm.
happen, but you've cut out a significant portion of the market. So you really have to walk
Hmm.
in hand with both, and this makes us a very non-traditional learning management company.
Hmm.
Most LMSs again are very tech heavy and
Hmm.
lighter on content, or the content's very generic. We're
Yeah.
the complete opposite.
Yeah.
We've dove in, and we have got thousands of modules specific to the
Hmm.
industry in different regions of the country. And so for us, that is a huge asset. When they walk in the
Hmm.
door, they can pull really good content right off the shelf that'll fit in their company, and that applies at
Hmm.
the frontline level.
Yeah.
And that means saying no to other verticals, right? To be able to do that. And that's just the choice that we've made to be
Hmm.
really good in this space. And it's worked out well for us. So
Yeah, and thank you for clarifying that. I think I really just wanted to highlight that because I find it so important to say it and show that, to have this clarity on what you guys are doing, because a lot of other companies like, hey, yeah, we'll help you create these things, but there's no need for any of the creation. These things are already created. It's just the, as you said, the spoon feed model, which is, it makes it so simple and so fast for everybody that comes on. So I wanted to just highlight that, which is I find really, really awesome.
well, and one other piece though is that we also allow our clients to create their own, and that's a big part
Oh,
of
so
the
it's both
On3
amazing.
AI
Yeah.
model. It is both. Yeah, so that's what I want to make sure you understood. And we just
Yeah.
launched On3 Create 2.0, which
Mm.
is a dynamic app that allows our clients to simply use their cell phones, record a video of any process happening in the world, and
Hmm.
then our AI will actually ingest that, break down all the steps, build out all the learning, translate it into over 40
Ah.
languages, and deliver a final learning. And that now is happening in minutes as
Hmm.
opposed to days and weeks in the
Yeah.
traditional e-learning cycle.
I think that's what I saw recently on the website. Then that you guys just changed the and kind of just started implementing and showing
Yeah,
that tool. Huh?
right.
I remember that now. That makes so much sense, and that's really cool because yeah, I think the creation has been such a problem for so many companies. Of like, yeah, it's going to take 3 to 6 months, and then maybe people will engage. It's like, no, this takes minutes, and it's so fast that people will for sure complete it, and it's also helping the operation side of the business, so which is really, really cool. I
Yeah,
wanted to ask a couple other questions as well here. What are some of the characteristics of, um, or maybe some of the mistakes that customers can make that doesn't allow them to find that operationalized system for their business, and it kind of just stops them from having that success that they would like to grow their company?
yeah, I think that's a great question, and it comes down to what we just talked about. If a
Mm.
company is doesn't want to get out there and start capturing what's happening now, the real pain points happening now, creating just in time content, then they're not going to see the as much of the ROI. They'll
Mm.
still see ROI, certainly benefit to using our generic programs, but where the ROI just literally hockey sticks, and we talk
Mm.
about amazing kinds of operational benefits, it's when they get out there in the field or ask their teams, okay, hey, shoot a video of that. Dealing with this today, go shoot a video of that. And getting people to do that isn't easy.
Yeah.
That's for some, it's no brainer. For someone like yourself, I'm sure you'd be like, yeah, no problem. But for most in the business, that's not native to what they do.
Mm-hmm.
So we're having to change behaviors and beliefs about how
Mm.
we work in the world, how we can use cell phones to our advantage,
Mm.
and recording a simple video. Once they get through a couple of these, they realize that's not so bad.
Yeah.
And moreover, the benefits is huge because now they can communicate that throughout the org to their sub trades, which may not be
Mm.
speaking English. And all of a sudden, everybody's on board with that problem. And we like to say we're coaching and training that problem away. And
Mm-hmm.
we're doing that every day. Every day, there's another problem that we've just developed out of the company
Mm-hmm.
by using this approach, and we can actually use education and training to make it go away. And so when companies
Yeah.
actually feed the system with their problems and they start to see that they can go away, then all of a sudden, there's an incredible buy-in. And we have some clients that have recorded literally hundreds. I've got one that's now just past the 500
Mm.
videos that they've recorded in their organization over
Wow.
just a short 2-year period. So you
Mm-hmm.
think about that, that's a lot of videos that's
Yeah.
getting fed in, but that's the real world. There's a lot of problems they
Mm-hmm.
deal with on a daily basis.
That's awesome. Paul, I have one final question here for you.
Sure.
And it's actually not a question from me. It's a question from our last guest to you, and they
Oh,
had no idea who you were. So,
okay.
you ready for that question?
I'm ready.
The
Ready. Who
question
is
is,
that?
I won't tell you either. That's a
Okay.
secret. It's a
Okay.
secret. The question is, how do you keep your staff engaged and in a creative mindset, focused on solving problems?
Well, culture is everything. You know, a culture eats strategy for lunch. That's an old saying that I've used in my last company,
Mm,
and I've always struggled to, you know, what is culture and how you build it. But that's really, it is what people say when you're not in the room, and it all comes down to how you treat people, how you truly respect them in everything you do. And if you have that culture where everybody respects each other, everybody treats each other with
mhm,
fairness and honesty and hard work, you're going to be fairly invincible. You know, and this transcends business. This is in sports. This is in life. This is in
mhm,
family. It's just you just got to have that. And if you have that sense and you're pure in your heart with your
mm.
people, doesn't mean that challenge them and you're not hard on them and we don't
Sure.
and all that, but you have to have that sense and they have to trust you. And if
Mhm,
you have that and you truly build that, that's culture. And so I think for business owners, remember that it's business today is not just about cracking the whip and meeting the bottom line. You really do have to maintain that, and it's a bit of a garden, and it can go south quickly on you. The weeds can come in fast,
mhm.
and so it's always a challenge.
I really, really like that. Culture eats strategy for lunch. I hadn't heard that before. So
Really?
yeah,
Okay. Maybe
noted
it's an
that
old
down.
dog saying, but yes, we used to say
Noted
that
that.
years ago, and it's true.
Hmm.
It really does. If you have a great culture, you take you can compete quite well
Yeah.
because everybody's aligned and pulling the sled the same direction.
Yeah. Awesome. Paul, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you. Where should people go if they want to learn a little bit more about On3 AI or yourself?
Absolutely. Well, feel free to check out our website at www.on3 and as well, you feel free to email me at paul@on3.ai.
Paul, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. Take care.